Yeah, I think good week of preparation. Obviously, this is a really good opponent we're playing. Um, really good players, well coached, experienced team. So it presents a lot of really good challenges for us. I think that our guys are pretty well dialed into what we're trying to do in the game. Now at this point, with 48 hours to go, it's about preparing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally to go out and execute the plan and to play for 4 quarters.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Guys, go ahead and raise your hand. Put your raise hand function up if you have a question, and we'll go to some questions. Chip, you can start us off.
Steve, when it comes to opponent scouting, what stands out about Gary Patterson?
Yeah, I mean, Gary's a really good football mind. He's obviously got a wealth of experience, and he's seen a lot of football in his time, and I think he's a great sounding board for not only our defensive coaches but for myself of how to try to defend people. And so we lean on Gary on that front for sure, because just from the experience standpoint, he's seen a lot of football and he's defended a lot of football.
Dennis, go ahead.
Coach, given all the buzz this game is getting and your connection to Alabama, have you gotten, I guess, has your phone blown up even more than it usually does? And is there any interesting communication you could share that you've had this week with anybody?
No, I mean, I think the people that I generally talk to on a steady basis, respect what I do on a weekly basis. A lot of my friends are coaches. So they're working hard too. They're game planning for their own games. Generally the dialogue I have with people around the country that are coaches, happen kind of Thursday night, Friday, when everybody's kind of settled back into their normal routine and feel good about what they're doing. Nothing too crazy, quite honestly, but I, this time of year for me, I kind of live in a silo in some capacity. I focus on what I need to do and making sure I'm doing the best job that I can do for our players and for our coaches, that we have a good plan and that we can go execute and that they're motivated to go do it at a high level.
Bob, you're up.
Coach, is even keeled as Quinn, everybody says Quinn is at all times. Can you gauge his mentality as he heads into a game like this? Can you figure out where you think he is?
Well, first of all, I think he's had a really good week. I think that he's, really dialed into, like I said, the game plan. I think there's been a few things that we've really tried to, like every player on our team that played last week, there was plenty to improve on. And every guy on our team should be working to improve on the things that we point out and that they're, trying to get better at. And I think Quinn has done that. But like anything, new is new, and this is a first opportunity for him and in a moment like this. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty for me to learn as we get closer to the game and as we get into the game, but I really don't expect it to be a whole lot different because, I think I've got a pretty good sense of his personality up to this point.
Danny, go ahead.
Steve, you touched a bit on this on Monday, but what do you like about Bryce's game and what he does at the quarterback position? Did you see this coming when you were recruiting him all those years ago?
I thought Bryce was going to be a really good player. He was committed to another school at the time when I got to Alabama, and I just felt like, man, this guy has a chance to be special. We took our shot and we went for it. And ultimately he chose to come to Alabama when I was there. And he's, I think, lived up to the billing and or exceeded it, to think about, his first year as a starter. He's a Heisman Trophy winner and leads him to the national championship game and starts off his third year with, 5 touchdowns, I think, in the first half or whatever it was. So very talented player, great competitor, natural feel for passing the football. He's got really good elusiveness, really good spatial awareness. I'm proud of him because, I knew it was a lot of hard work. It was a little bit of a leap of faith for him to go away from home. And it's worked out for him.
Terry, you're up.
Coach Sarkisian, your relationship with Coach Saban is very respectable and on both sides and very serious, it seems. But is there any part of your relationship where there's some friendly banter where, Coach Saban calls you up at 2 a.m. and says, "I'm coming for you, Sark"?
No. Coach Saban and I, there is a lot of respect mutually. We have a really good football relationship, but I think our personal relationship does definitely go beyond that. It's just not for public consumption.
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve, wanted to go back to that second time that you joined Alabama after your stint in the NFL. I know at the time that you were kind of considering or maybe even leaning towards staying in the NFL. Obviously, with hindsight now, it's easy to say, yeah, go join Coach Saban in Alabama, you win a national title. But I'm curious at that point, what was going through your head and why did you decide to join Bama instead of staying in the NFL?
Yeah. I enjoyed my experience in Atlanta with Dan Quinn and the Falcons. And at the time, I thought that's what I was destined to do was to be in the NFL. I enjoyed it. We had a great experience with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and all those guys we had there. But when Coach Saban called, I kind of took a step back. And I really started to think about, here was the man that gave me an opportunity when I couldn't get an interview anywhere else, never mind a job. And then he entrusted in me to make me the offensive coordinator for a national championship game after being an analyst all season. So obviously he had a lot of faith in me. And so when he called, I just really thought long and hard about it. And I felt like I owed him. I felt like I owed Coach Saban. I owed that organization, owed that school. They were the ones that had extended an olive branch to me when there weren't a lot of them out there for me. And so, I went back, and, it's easy to say now is the best decision I've ever made in my coaching career, but I really felt that at that time. It was an awesome experience. Got to work with some great players, got to work with some great people, learned a lot. And ultimately now I'm here with you guys. So, grateful, thankful, but it was more about maybe a missed opportunity when I left the first time. And I don't regret that because going to Atlanta, I think has helped me as a coach. It's helped shape me. But I do feel like when I left the first time to go to the Falcons, I may have missed an opportunity there at Alabama to be the coordinator, for the next how many ever years. So when it came full circle and came back around again, I just felt like I couldn't pass it up again. And it worked out great, ended up winning a national championship, Heisman Trophy winner, and head coach of the University of Texas. So I guess I can say it was a pretty good call to go back.
Anwar, you're up.
Hey, Coach. Quick question. I know that on Saturday, obviously winning is going to be the ultimate goal, the ultimate thing that you want to see from your guys. But are there other things outside of the scoreboard that if you saw on Saturday, you would be able to take away and be happy with?
Well, I want to make sure we play our style of football, our brand of football, which is great energy, great effort, physical, tough and fast, smart. And I thought we saw that last Saturday. I thought our guys had really good energy. I thought they played a really physical brand of football. I thought that we were tough in the moments when it presented itself. I thought we were smart. There were some really cool scenarios that came up. We played smart football. Thought we appeared fast. And that's what how I want to see our guys play this Saturday as well. Ultimately, it comes down to execution. But I would love to see, those traits come out of our style of play Saturday.
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, Anwar kind of took my question there, but building on that, Steve, a lot of Texas fans have waited for this game for years, knowing that it was scheduled. If you could just talk directly to the fan base, what do you want the fan base to see Saturday?
Well, I'm fired up for our fans. Everybody is so excited about, Fox being here and them bringing their whole crew and ESPN College Game Day coming. And, as coaches and players, we don't get to experience that stuff. We're at the hotel and we're riding the bus and we're warming up for the game, but fired up for our fans. What an awesome experience to have all of that here. I know they're going to have an impact on the game. And we need our fans to be loud. We need our fans to be energetic. We need our fans to be raucous. We need our student section rolling. This is, we need all 102,000 people. And then if CDC can squeeze any more in there, we'll take them because we need this environment to be what it's capable of being. We've got a great home field advantage. We know it's going to be hot. We know it's an early kick. But we also know that our fans are going to show up and they're going to show up ready to roll and we're going to need them.
Joe Cook, you're up.
Steve, I'm wondering what went in the decision to give Andre a eligible receiver number at certain points and what him as a tight end adds to your offense.
Well, I think, we don't have quite the depth at tight end that we would really love to have. And obviously with Jaleel serving his suspension, we had to make sure that we had enough pieces in place to operate as a team. So, it's one thing to do it and then just hold on to it for an emergency. I'm kind of the mindset, if we're going to practice something, then let's put it to use. And so we were able to get him in there some at tight end. Obviously we didn't major in it, but it's good to know that he can go in there and function if need be.
Sid, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, did you get everything you wanted out of practice, execution and intensity wise this week? And also if you could give us an injury updates, is everybody good to go for this weekend?
Yeah, from an injury standpoint, everybody's good to go. That's a real positive that you got, all the bullets in your gun, that you got everybody ready to rock and roll. Practice wise, like every week, Tuesday and Wednesday are really hard practices for us. They're tough, they're physical. We get a lot of reps. We intentionally do it that way, knowing that, Thursday, Friday are obviously a lot lighter. So I like the intensity of practice. I like the mental intensity of practice. Generally, like most weeks, as you first install, you're going to have more mishaps early in the front end of the week. As you get into the tail end of the week, things start to sharpen up and clean up. And I thought I saw that today. That the guys were really dialed into what we were doing in all three phases. And now ultimately it's about going out and executing. And then, again, when you play against a quality opponent who's got good players and who coaches too, then it comes down to, the matchups and winning your one-on-ones and making necessary adjustments in game.
Jeff Jones, go ahead.
Coach, on Saturday, whether it's pregame or the first or two series, what are you looking for and listening for to tell you that your guys are ready for this challenge and not one of those teams that's too enamored with Alabama?
I think our guys are going to be excited to play this game, and I think that's always one of the challenges is that you can harness some of that excitement and push some of that energy to focus. And I think that's something that I'll be monitoring early on is that we're settled down, that we're not so excited about the game and in the environment, but yet focused on the task at hand. And so we've got to do a good job as a staff of making sure that we're putting the players in position to do that. And, if we're not that way, then we got to make sure that we can shift them back into that space. I don't think our guys will go in wide-eyed. We've got a great deal of respect for Alabama and their players, their coaches, that goes without saying. But the opportunity is still a great one, and the way we'll play our best is by focusing on us and focusing on our play, not to diminish who Alabama is and what they are, but the better we execute, the more we focus on what we need to do, the better opportunity we're going to have Saturday to have some success.
Two last ones. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, with, college game day, the big noon kickoff, obviously a lot of noise around the game and everything. You may have touched on this just slightly, but is there anything in particular or specifically that you guys do and the team do to just kind of stay locked in and block out all that stuff?
We're pretty routine oriented. Our players know what we do, how we do, when we do, why we do it. I'm I'm sure we have a few guys that would like to go to College game day set and be out there in the crowd and hold up a sign or something, but they, that's not what we do. We're eating a pregame meal. We're going through a walkthrough, and then we get on a bus and we start getting ourselves prepared to play. So it's not that difficult to focus in on the task at hand, because we're just not in that environment. The environment's going to be when we run out of the tunnel. And the fans are in there, rocking and rolling, excited for us to go play. And that's the great part. That's the beauty of college football. I mean, that's, like I said, you guys know, I love all of the pageantry of college football. But at the end of the day, we got an opportunity to home game against a great opponent, to play in front of our fans. Shoot, how much better can we get it? I mean, that's why we do what we do.
Last one, Chip.
Steve, Jeff Banks as a special teams coordinator, why is he so special? What sets him apart?
Well, I think Jeff works at his craft. It's 365 days a year. He's working at his craft, whether it's fundamentals and techniques, finding new ways to do things, whether it's scheme, whether it's personnel driven, evaluating our current roster of who can play where and how and why and have a role on the team. A lot of guys we play sometimes are not frontline starters, but they have an impact on special teams. And so I think he's got an aggressive approach to special teams. I think he does a great job of motivating our players to buy into special teams. And ultimately, that was one of the reasons why I was so bullish on hiring him here at the University of Texas, because I think, his mantra on special teams kind of lends itself to my style of play and how I'd like our team to play. And so I think it's been a really good marriage. And, he's a very aware guy. He's got great feel for the game. He's got a great feel for our team, our staff. And I lean on him a lot. And so he's very good at what he does, and we're lucky to have him.